Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Berlin. I'm a digital marketing strategist and founder of Planted Marketing. I've been doing this for over 10 years, working with small businesses, startups, mid-sized brands. Those are who I like to work with for my agency, but I also love supporting solopreneurs and small businesses along the way. So I have a lot of free resources on my website. I do these workshops all the time. And then today I open the doors to a new community, which I'm really excited to tell you all about at the end of this. If we're not connected online already, I'm going to drop my links into the chat here. I would love to connect with you on social and support your businesses over there. Okay, so I also want to mention that this is a super interactive workshop, so feel free to stay active in the chat, to come off mute or off camera if you're comfortable with that. You're welcome to ask questions at any time. But yeah, this is definitely for you, so we can chat through anything as we go through this. Okay, so how many of you have that feeling of dread each time you sit down to do your own marketing or thinking about your marketing or just don't even know what to do? It's a completely normal feeling, even as this is my full-time job and career. This is something that I get stressed out doing as well. So there's something about doing your own marketing that's just really overwhelming. We're too close to our own product. We're too close to, we kind of have that burden of knowledge, whereas like when you're kind of learning about something and how we don't really know how to connect to our target audience and teach them something because we're like on a different level of them. And we also understand our product differently than what a consumer sees it as. So it's really hard to kind of connect or like disconnect and teach them something when we're kind of on a different level. And then there's also just a lot of, you're a solopreneur, so you're doing all of this stuff on your own already, and then having the extra level of marketing added to that is just very overwhelming. So today I'm going to give you some tips on how to kind of work past that and find what works for you and find a system that works for you as well. Okay, so the first thing that's really important to begin with is having really strong foundations. So this will set you up for everything else and everything that we're going to talk about today as well. So the first part of that is having a really solid idea of your branding. So knowing who you are as a brand, what are your values, your mission, what do you want to, like, what's the difference that you want to make? How do you want to support people? What are the main selling points of your product? So having all of that laid out. And also having a really solid understanding of your target audience and having these customer personas created. So when you have your branding laid out, that will really help you with everything else because you know exactly who your brand is and you know exactly who you're speaking to. And so you can always kind of refer back to that when you're creating content. It's also really helpful for having a continued message throughout all of your content to kind of continue the story from where people find you all the way to making a sale or conversion. The second part of having a really strong foundation is having a great website. So this is really worth the investment in the beginning, whether that's you, like your own investing, you're investing your own time or you're working with somebody. So think of your website as your always on 24/7 employee. They are always representing you. They're um, walking the viewer through your funnel. They're telling your story, they're answering questions. And then obviously they lead to some conversion or download or whatever it is that you have on your website. So your website is definitely worth the investment, and it's a great place to continually drive traffic to for whatever we decide we're going to do in a little bit. We're going to chat about like what works for you. And so whatever you have decided there, your website is where all of like the finishing end is going to be, the bottom of the funnel. So, as you scroll online or if you're trying to read through tips, you're often going to get caught up in all of this advice, right? So, if you go to one person's account, they're going to tell you to do this and this and this and this. And then if you go somewhere else, you're going to hear semi-conflicting advice. And then somewhere else, they're going to tell you something different. And it can get really overwhelming. Um, so I just want to make sure that you don't get caught up in all the advice that you hear online. Nothing is one size fits all. What works for somebody might not work for you. You might not get the same results that they're getting. So it's really worth hearing the advice, hearing what they have to say, and then seeing if it resonates with you, seeing if it makes sense for your brand, for your audience. Does it make sense for your budget, for your process, and then for everything else that we're going to talk about today? I like keeping what they have to say in mind, but then just kind of taking it with a grain of salt and then testing it if necessary. But what I don't want you to do is feel like you have to do all of the things that you hear you need to be doing. So it's really important to remember that you are a solopreneur. So you're already doing all of this stuff on your own that is required to run your business. You are not a full service marketing agency. You cannot be doing all of this everything marketing related that people tell you you need to be doing. So, I mean, if you're hiring somebody, that's a different story. Yes, it's good to know like what can be done and what the options are so somebody else can do it, but that's not something for you to be holding on to on your own. And that's where a lot of this overwhelm comes from is you kind of think, oh, I need to be doing all of these things. I need to be checking all of these boxes. And then it kind of just leads to you not doing anything at all. And that's a box we all get stuck in. Even myself, I will just go periods without posting anything because I just kind of get overwhelmed myself. So take their advice, see if it makes sense, write it down, but don't feel obligated to do all of the things. So the very most important thing, like in life, but also in marketing, is to be consistent. So nothing is going to get accomplished if you do something one time, right? So that applies to marketing, and it doesn't matter what strategy you take, what advice you take. The only important thing is to be consistent with it. And that's what we're going to find today is what works for you to be consistent with. So just take this moment, take the rest of this hour to forget every single piece of advice you've heard outside of this workshop. And we're going to focus on what feels most aligned with you. So when I ask this next question, I'm going to give you a minute to think about it, but I want to know in the chat what's the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you this question? And then if you kind of think about it more and anything else that comes to you. And this question isn't marketing related, so it could be like if you really like doing something in the marketing world, let me know that. Or it could just be like your hobby or something you do day to day. So what do you enjoy doing the most? I'll give you a minute. Let me know in the chat. Crystal, what about you? I know you're big into art and painting, right? Okay, so when you recognize what it is that's working for you, so say you really like to um, write, maybe you really enjoy just kind of like having a free form of thoughts and just letting things flow, and you really enjoy writing. Maybe you really enjoy being creative, like taking pictures, painting, anything art related. Um, if you really enjoy reading or if you just enjoy talking to people one-on-one, any of that can be turned into something that you use. Connection. It's okay. I think there's a lot of weird internet things happening lately. Um, Anything that you enjoy the most is something that you can take and find a way to turn that into your marketing strategy to find a way to um, be consistent. And that is, again, the most important thing, and that's our goal for today. Crystal said, creating magazines with photo and art. Ooh, I love that. Um, which is great for your business as well. Okay. So again, we're going to identify what we really like to do, and we're going to use that to build out our marketing strategy. So here are a few examples. If you really like writing, you can turn that into writing blogs or email newsletters. or guest blogging on other people's websites as well. If you really like being on camera, you can do workshops like this. You can do social posts or like short social videos, or you can go to YouTube and do longer videos. If you like designing and like sitting down and being creative, you can turn that into creating social posts or carousels or anything like that, or even like downloadable workbooks or something like that. And if you just really like conversation and meeting up with people, you can do podcasts, again, workshops like this, or a lot of networking events. Networking events are really great for anybody. So if you're a service-based business or if you are like a e-commerce brick and mortar, it doesn't matter. Networking is really great for anybody. And there are a lot of online resources for that. There's a lot of local events for that, and there's a lot of options from free to paid. So that can really work for you no matter where you're at in your business. So once you find what you really like doing and you are able to turn that into a strategy, so something that we can be consistent with online. Again, we're going to tune out all of the noise of saying or of hearing like, I need to be posting blogs, I need to be doing newsletters and social, whatever, whatever. We're going to pause all of that and we're going to pick that one thing that we really like to be consistent with and that we like genuinely enjoy doing and doesn't give us that marketing dread. And that's the thing that you're going to sit down and you're going to run with. And only that. When you really enjoy the process is where that authenticity is going to come from. And that's when you're going to make those really strong connections online. So if you sit down and you write a blog and you really hate writing blogs, so you use AI to write your blog, it's not going to sound like it's coming from you. It's not going to be personable. People are spotting AI like crazy, and there's just a disconnect there, and we don't want to see it. Like as a consumer, we generally aren't interested in anything AI, and so we're automatically going to disconnect from that brand. So when we use these like tools to spread ourselves really thin and be on all of the things, that's where we're going to lose connection and it's kind of going to be a waste of time. So when we find the things that we really like to do, that's where we'll be really authentic. So if you're on social media and let's say you're posting videos and that's where you make a really great connection with your audience, then I'm not going to be writing blogs and wasting time there because it's not going to sound very authentic. So that's why we really want to have these like one singular platform that we're feeling really fulfilled by, and that's where everything's going to make sense anyways. What was I going to say on that? I forget. Okay, so now we have identified what we really enjoy doing. We are able to turn that into a strategy and we're being consistent with that. So once we are at a very consistent level, we're feeling really good about our process. We're going to talk about systems in a second. Then you can slowly start to add things in. So let's say you are writing blogs, and that's where you really like to be at and where things feel most authentic and aligned with you. Um, Once you have a really good system built there, that's when you can kind of start to expand. But I still recommend just keeping like kind of cross-posting content so that way you don't get burnt out when you add in a new level. So if you're writing blogs and you really enjoy that, just after you get in a good flow, turn those snippets of your blogs into social posts, and then that way you can kind of add another platform, but still using the thing that you enjoy doing the most to build up another platform without getting completely burnt out by having a whole entire separate social strategy. If you really like doing videos, you can kind of work backwards. So let's say I really like creating TikTok videos and just talking to my audience there. Once I'm in a really good flow of being consistent with that, then you can go and then you can use these like AI tools, right? To like take all of the what am I trying to say? So like Descript is a really great tool. You can upload videos and it'll take all of the audio from that video and just write it into a blog post for you. So that could be a way that you turn your video content or these workshops into long form video or long form blog posts. So just take whatever you like creating and then use that to cross post on other platforms once you get more comfortable. So the next part is finding a system that really works for you, which is a huge part of it. And I also recommend, taking all of the advice or all of the templates with a grain of salt and then using what works best for you. So, for example, my system for myself and my system for my clients are on two totally different ends of the spectrum. For my clients, I'm super organized. I have content created a month in advance. I have this whole social ta calendar template built out and completed for them. But for me, I have notes everywhere. It looks like a disaster, but it's a system that works really well for me. So when I try to go to my content calendars and I try to like assign dates to everything, it's just not something that works for me, and that is what leads me to not doing it. So I think it's really important to find systems that work for you. And so let's say you do download a template, but you're kind of feeling overwhelmed by it. And by template, I mean like I have a template for you after this in 1 second. So that's what I mean by that. But um, if you see a template for like a social calendar, take what works for you and then turn that into something else. And so here in the chat, I'll drop a link to a social calendar template that I use on Airtable. It's a really great system, but if it feels overwhelming to you to use that, then just delete what doesn't work for you, add in what does work for you. And I think it's also really important to give yourself, to give yourself grace, to give yourself patience. I use my notes, a notes sticky note thing on my desktop. I have my digital planner on my iPad. I have ClickUp and I use Airtable. So like I have all of these different things that like house my thoughts and kind of organize them for me. And it's kind of a chaotic system, but I finally have accepted that that's what works for me and that's what we're going to run with. So instead of being frustrated that I'm not using, just one thing and it's not perfectly organized, I just kind of was more patient with myself and now we're in a really good flow. So find a system that works for you, find automations that work for you, and that can really alleviate a lot of the process and a lot of the stress and the overwhelm by having things just automatically connected and created for you. I saw this I just came across this automation system today, and they have like a good free level. So you get like 1,000 automations for free. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'll drop this link into here as well. Maybe. But they have a template library as well to kind of give you ideas on how their automations can work and ways that you can use it. And they connect with so many different platforms. So if let's say you want to automate, like you really like doing blogs, you can set up an automation to turn that into an email newsletter, turn the blog that you created into a newsletter, turn that newsletter into a social post, and so on. So you can also use automations to really alleviate a lot of that work as well. Here on the screen, I have some resources that I really like to use. So for organizing like my tasks, I really like ClickUp. Monday is another really popular one. Airtable is great, but I prefer to use for content calendars, and that's the link that I gave you. Scheduling, so if setting up all of your social posts to automatically post will obviously alleviate a lot of the stress from you doing it yourself. I really like to use Metricool. They connect to every social platform. They have a great link in bio section as well, and they track analytics and everything too. So that's a great system for that. And then email marketing. So let's say you get in a really good flow and you want to write a ton of emails. It's great to have all of those scheduled. You can write everything in advance, schedule them. You can also set up email automations. For myself, I use ConvertKit, and it's really great for digital downloads, selling products, and things like that. So I use ConvertKit. Klaviyo is a really great platform if you are connected to Shopify. They connect really well, so you can bring in your products into your newsletters. But even if you're not an e-commerce store, Klaviyo is still really great. So find a system that works for you. set up all of your automations, and get everything done for you. So after you've identified, what works best for you, you have everything set in place, I also really recommend finding a community that works with you. I'm going to drop a link into the chat for some communities that I really like. Some of them I've joined, some of them have great reviews and I want to join, but those are a few communities in that blog there that are really great places to start. You can also, just search for anything like community marketing communities for women or art communities for women entrepreneurs or anything related to your field. Just kind of do a quick Google search and you'll find online communities. You can also go to Meetup or Eventbrite, and there are tons of communities, like networking communities and different things on those platforms, and then you can meet with people locally. I also really like finding a mix between like paid and free groups. There's so many options out there. And I think it's really great too to be in groups that are um, aligned with you. So people that are in your same industry, people that are not in your industry. So just like a general networking group. And then just like kind of a fun networking group. So that way you can kind of get different um, thoughts, different feedback from all of these different types of people. And it's great to kind of surround yourself and be in different rooms. Um, when you join a community, there are a lot of benefits for your business aside from just networking. It's really great to feel less alone. You're more supported, whether it's like a community where it's just networking and maybe you meet online once or twice a month, or if they have like a platform where you can all connect or like a Facebook group or something. Those communities are really great. You can find a lot of people to collaborate. So last January actually, I started getting really into finding communities and I collaborated with people all year. And I have collaborations lined up for this year. Um, so it's really great. And that is great for growing your business because you get to reach different, somebody else's audience. And then it's just really great for building your network. Um, they're good places for getting feedback or brainstorming on ideas. So that's why you want to be in communities of people in your industry or in your stage of business where you can say, hey, I'm doing this. Does anybody have any thoughts on what I'm doing, or has anybody done it? Stuff like that. It's also good for getting help with like really niche questions. So sometimes you can't Google something, or you don't know how to Google something, or you're just not getting the best. Sorry, there's a leaf blower outside. I don't know if you can hear it. He always comes around when I am trying to talk to people, of course. So yeah, great for getting answers to niche questions. Okay, good. And last thing that communities are great for is like continued education. So a lot of the platform or communities that have like a platform, they'll do educational events. They'll do these workshops like I'm doing now. They have resources. So communities are really great for growing your business as well. Which leads me to the community that I just opened the doors to today. I'm really excited about. It's made for solopreneurs, people in your spot. I have all of these things here for you, which include to open office hours a month, the forums for getting feedback and advice custom to you, not just like what you'll find on Google. I'll have weekly homework ideas. I have a ton of downloadable resources, courses, workbooks. I'll be sharing marketing platform updates to keep us updated with Instagram and whatever the hell that they want these days. It's something different all the time. I'll give you lots of trends and strategy, inspiration, um, and yeah, lots of exciting workshops planned for that, based on all the collaborations and connections that I made this last year. So that's open today. It's only $59 a month, but there's also a 7-day free trial, so you can pop in and see if it's a good fit for you. Just drop the link into the chat for that. But that was all I have on my little thing here. But I would love to chat through, like, if you want to talk about how you would create a strategy based off of the thing that you enjoy, or if you want to talk about finding a system that works for you, let's chat through it. We have plenty of time. Again, you can just drop it in the chat, or you're welcome to come off mute and we can chat through it.
Um, yeah, what would you say to marketing using like PR, reaching out to like are there any good sources of like low budget marketing around PR that you'd recommend?
Oh, PR, yeah.
Or
So,
collaborations and stuff like that.
did you just say local collaborations? What
Yes,
was
like
it?
collaborations and PR. I'm trying to really build a community. That's my main focus. So, but I also very low budget at the moment,
Yeah.
especially with the new year. So, any advice or resources?
Yes, I do. I'm trying to think of the link. One second. So I'll drop some links here for you. So there's a few platforms that can connect you with people like journalists that are looking for specific things. So a lot of them are like subscriptions, so you can subscribe to them and it's an email newsletter. They're free subscriptions. And it'll come to your email once a day, and then it'll give you a list of like this journalist is looking for this or whatever. So that's more on a national level, and we'll find those links for you in just a second. But what I would also say on a local level is again like going through like meetup groups, finding things where you're in LA again, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So go to Meetup and just find like women's networking groups in your area, or I'm sure there's a lot of like artist groups as well. So just kind of search for things like related to your keyword or your industry or the stage of business that you're in. And then just attend these groups regularly and you'll make a ton of connections. And especially, I would say more like artist groups, you'll find people that want to collaborate with you. I know we've talked before about like getting your stuff in local stores. So maybe looking just for like other entrepreneur groups in the area, and you'll find people that have stores or know of people. So just join these groups, tell them exactly what you're looking for, and you'll definitely make connections. Here's one link I'm dropping. It's called Quoted, and this is something you can subscribe to for free, and they'll send you emails once a day. And let me find. Hmm, I just cleaned out my email, but they were all there. Let me find them.
Thank you.
Mhm. Geez, I can't remember the other one, but I will send it to you on Instagram tomorrow when I get the email. So I can't even remember the name.
Oh,
Oh,
perfect. Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, but I'll message you for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions?
Oh, how about another one if nobody else has one? So I find like this is probably an interesting question. I wonder if anyone else has this problem. I find that when I do the templates and all that, I'll save them and I'll get really into them, but then like it always comes down to finding them, opening them up. Like I'm like a pen and paper kind of gal. Um, do you have any suggestions on creating like content calendars or anything like that, which just like post-it notes kind of fall off. So that one I have tried that, but then they start unsticking, obviously. I've gotten a whiteboard, but now it's just filled with my to-do list. So I've kind of overtaken it there. So I was wondering if you recommend any ways to like
Mm.
um create a content calendar that maybe or help with one digitally that I can remember to use all the time or to keep updated or just paper kind of stuff like that. Maybe just getting a calendar. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
find the best way to keep everything. organized without having to
Mm-hmm.
search my Google spreadsheets, Google Docs all the time.
Yeah, I feel you. So really, it's what you're most called to. So you said like, okay, you're a paper person. So if your whiteboard's getting taken over by other stuff, then maybe have like a dedicated whiteboard where, you don't touch it. Like maybe you have separate whiteboards for different topics, and then one can be like your dedicated, um, content calendar. Um, I really like using Airtable, which was the template that I dropped in here because they have a really great phone app as well.
Oh yeah,
So
I
whenever
like
I'm
that.
like anywhere, I can just open my Airtable and drop in my ideas there. And then when I go to create my content calendar, everything's already in that in my Airtable, so I can just easily see my ideas and drag them over. Um, but yeah, again, like what I said earlier, just finding what works for you and just being patient with yourself. If you feel frustrated and you do want like a digital version, but the reality is it's just not working out, then like don't be frustrated with yourself
Yeah.
that it doesn't work out.
Okay. And then I can always switch and change it up. I just feel like I've downloaded so many templates. I got to try the Airtable one. I think I started to originally, but then it was asking so much information and my ADD was like, I'm out of here. So
Yeah.
I will try it again now that I'm more focused. Um, and I think that's a good idea. I could try it. If I don't like it, let's switch it up in a week or a month and then just keep trying something till I get it right. So
Yeah.
very focused this year. So I'm hoping that works out for me.
Cool. Yeah. No, I think you can do it. But also, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Like that t template that I dropped in, it doesn't work for me. I can't do it. Because, yeah, it's too much. The ADHD gets in there, and I'm like, wow, I have to do all this stuff. Like, no, thank you. So for me, I do use Airtable, but it's super basic. It's literally just like the notes. I can show you. So, like, if that template doesn't work for you, don't make it work. Let me show you what mine looks like. Like basically, um, mine is just this. So I don't stick to a calendar. I don't have dates on anything. I have like all of my ideas dropped in here. And I am trying, like, this is my January thing, right? I'm trying to stick to a calendar. So I do have it, but it's super basic. I just
Got it.
have what kind of
Yeah.
content it is, a poster reel, what it's going to be, and ideally when I would like to post it, but doesn't always work.
Oh, but I see on the left you can create a grid, a calendar. Oh, geez, the
Yeah.
Canva. Yeah, people have tried to get me into that one too. But even the timetable, yeah. So sometimes I do like I'll make myself things in like Google, Excel, or whatever
Hmm.
that is, and
Hmm.
like just timetables when I like do work for other businesses. And then that's always helped me because it kind of shows me, oh, where in the process is, and I could let my client know that too. So maybe I
Hmm.
could try that. Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else? No problem.
I'll come off and I'll even
Sure.
put you on. There we go. I'll even,
Hello.
this is extremely helpful. The Airtable was helpful too. I've tried to use it and I wasn't able to. It was one more thing on my to-do list.
Hmm.
I don't, a little bit of my background. So I am coming off of, well, I'm still on sabbatical from marketing. I did graphic design and was a fractional marketing director. And for, gosh, 20 over 20 years, and my client just brought everything in-house last January. So
Hmm.
so I went back to school. So I am in this place of, do I continue to do marketing and graphic design for myself, or go get a job? Or I also went back to school for nutritional therapy, and that's really my passion. So I guess I'm looking at this and thinking I'm going to have to market myself probably through socials, and I don't really want to. Um, but I don't know. Any advice? Even though
Yeah.
I have the marketing background, I can't do it for myself.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I don't believe anybody can do it for themselves. The people that say they can, they're lying. They have a team behind them. Um, I also don't believe that you need to be on social media. So if you don't like that, that's fine. You can be on LinkedIn, which is like still social, but the environment's very different. But make that work how you want it to work. LinkedIn is good. Pinterest is really, really good. So people forget or underestimate Pinterest a lot. Um, and if you're doing like a nutritional thing, Pinterest is huge for that. So you'll see a lot of success there. And then maybe you have like a website and you're doing blogs or whatever your service will look like. Maybe you're doing downloads or like booking calls or something. Have all of your Pinterest drive traffic to your blogs or like whatever you're doing on your website. Pinterest is good. Again, networking is huge. I don't meet a lot of people in that industry, like a nutritional field networking, so that's good, right? You don't want to have a lot of competition. So I would find a lot of communities that work for you. What else? You could do workshops like this. Like, is this something that you're comfortable doing? Kind of like speaking in front of people?
I could do this, yes, if I was
Okay.
prepared.
Yeah, yeah. This is always really great. Or even if you're like want to kind of test it out, you can just film this style of video and like you do YouTube or something. So it's not like the pressure of talking, but you're still like getting that same content out there. So those are what I would recommend. But yeah, if you don't want to be a Instagram, TikTok person, I don't believe you need to be.
Yeah, definitely not TikTok. I've
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah. And that's fine. But yeah, don't underestimate Pinterest too. I that's like secret weapon. Nobody thinks about Pinterest in terms of marketing, but everybody thinks about Pinterest when they're searching for something, you know?
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Good luck. You'll have to keep me updated on how what you decide to do and then how it's all going.
I will. Thanks.
Oh, we still have some time. Does anybody have any other questions or we want to get back to our week? Are we getting started, jumping back into everything?
Getting back in on a snow day. We have, you have leaf blowers, we have snow plows.
Man, I miss the snow. Where do you live?
St. Louis.
Okay, cool, cool. I'm from like Kansas City area, sort of. So-
Oh, I was in Kansas City for 12 years,
Oh, that is so cool. I
part
love
of
that.
Kansas City.
Well, I'm from like outside of Manhattan, but I lived in Kansas City a couple years before I moved out to California. I lived in Overland Park, the
Hmm.
boring part.
Well, we were in Parkville, so the Northland. So, 15 minutes south of the airport, 15 minutes north of the plaza.
Very cool. It's such a great place. Yeah, I really love it.
It is a great place. California is beautiful, but my husband
Yeah, I
grew
don't
up.
live in enough to leave, that's for sure, to go back.
And well, you'll know this. So, the roads are, I don't even know how much snow we got, but we had thunder snow yesterday. It snowed all afternoon into the evening or it all day. It just, we're under winter weather advisory.
Hmm.
And it's started out as freezing rain and then it got colder and it snowed. And so you kind of got that ice underneath. It's
Hmm. It's a
okay.
disaster.
I'm wondering
A
if
disaster.
go to school tomorrow. So.
Love that. So yeah, it eases you back into winter break or out of winter break because you're still trapped inside.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. This was very, very helpful.
Yeah, thanks for being here and definitely keep keep me posted. Feel free to reach out on Instagram or email or LinkedIn or wherever you are if you have any questions and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.